What's up guys, welcome to Spider-Man Ranked, a special video where I'm going to rank all of the feature-length Spider-Man movies made by Marvel and Sony. Which ones will be climbing that water spout into the clouds, swinging away, and which ones will be washed out, never to be watched again. I'm no doubt going to cause some controversy here. What you think might be my top Spider-Man movies probably aren't the top Spider-Man movies. So without further ado, let's get into it. In last place is Tobey Maguire's third and final outing as the Spider-Man. It's by far the worst of his films and of all of the Spider-Man films to come out so far. Saddled with too many villains, a terrible depiction of Venom, some cheesy dialogue and comedy, as well as some story elements that simply don't make much sense, this is one of the worst superhero films ever made. James Franco got amnesia and wanted to do nothing but play basketball.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, we were pretty good in the backyard, weren't we?
We were terrible. And we tried out for the varsity team.
For the cheerleaders.
Right.
Hey, do I have any girlfriends? I don't know.
Tobey Maguire went all goth.
Everybody, somebody got a soul. Get up, close up together. Don't walk a soul. Get up together.
And everyone else in the film didn't have much to do either, thanks to Sandman and Gwen Stacy taking up much needed screen time for no good reason. Also, James Franco suddenly has a butler now. I say suddenly, but apparently that butler has been around all of James Franco's life.
Welcome home, Harry. Thank God you're all right.
Thanks, Bernard.
Bernard?
Sir.
So much so that the butler knows who killed James Franco's dad, yet we're only finding out now, in the third film, that the butler knows this information and he's willing to share it. So the butler knows Spider-Man didn't kill James Franco's dad, but he's only now telling James Franco. This is a pretty big deal. Why didn't he tell him earlier? The less said about this film, the better. The first Tobey Maguire film, and what most people probably think is the ideal Spider-Man movie. Here's the thing though. This film came out in a time when superhero films weren't the norm. We weren't getting the superhero film every other month. You were lucky to get one every couple of years. And sadly, age has not been kind to this movie at all. The film moves along briskly and it's very entertaining, but that just acts to cover up the problems in it. So for example, the poor casting. Why are all the high school kids 40 years old? The poor acting, the poor characters, the cheesy dialogue, the cheesy storylines, and the plot elements that simply don't make much sense. And let's not ignore the Tobey Maguire of it all. The guy isn't that bad an actor, but his depiction of Peter Parker, not really that good. He's supposed to be a highly intelligent yet awkward high school kid who gets superpowers. The problem is that this high school kid looks 40 years old and he comes across more as creepy and weird than awkward and lovable. Let's not forget about Willem Dafoe as well, hamming up the scenes, having a lot of fun, clearly, but he comes across more as a spoof and as comedic element rather than as creepy and scary.
Back to formula.
For its time, this film was good fun, I can't deny that, but it simply does not hold up. And here comes the controversy. The film most people would probably say is the best Spider-Man film is only 5th on my list. Here's what I'll say. If you disagree with my list, when was the last time you actually watched these films? Because seriously, go back, re-watch them. They do not hold up much. And when I say re-watch them, actually pay attention to what's going on. Look at them critically. You might be surprised. Yes, there are cool action scenes in a bank, on the side of a building, and on a train, but Doc Ock's storyline is a bit rushed towards the end, and there's got all the casting problems of the previous films. Alfred Molina, of course, brilliant as Doc Ock, and J.K. Simmons is in there too, so there are some positives. Also, why is Peter Parker's aunt almost 90 years old, it seems? Isn't she supposed to be the sister of one of his parents? In which case, how old were his parents when they were alive? And if they were young, how is there such a huge age gap between his parents and Aunt May? It doesn't really make sense. I get that it's based on the comics, but still. Also, by the end of this film, a lot of people actually know who Spider-Man is. They've seen him without his mask on, and yet they don't tell anyone. Now, yeah, they might not know his name, but come on, this is the modern day, so that information's going to get out. If you thought Spider-Man 3 went dark in the wrong way, well, The Amazing Spider-Man did it in the right way. Kind of. Yes, it's a reboot. Did we need it? No. Did we want it? No, not really. However, Andrew Garfield does have an interesting take on the Peter Parker character. He's likeable, quirky, and funny, key traits that Tobey Maguire completely failed to capture in his depiction of the character. Also, Andrew's version of the character was a bit more on the cool side, but he's still a little awkward and a little trendy, so it's a unique, interesting take on the character in my opinion, far more interesting than Tobey Maguire's. Then you have Emma Stone coming in as the ever-lovable Gwen Stacy. Of course I say ever-lovable, that's mainly because of Emma Stone's great performance and her magnetic smile. And her chemistry with her then romantic relation Andrew Garfield is very palpable. Add in the Lizard as the villain with a compelling backstory and you've got a pretty decent superhero film, just not a great one. Sadly, the film is a little on the long side. It is a bit repetitive because of its reboot nature, and the tonal dark areas of it don't always mix well with the character, who is usually a bit more light-hearted, a bit more colourful. And remember how I said Andrew Garfield is likeable, quirky, and funny? Well, that's true, but at times it goes a little into him possibly just being a dick, and that's not good with your lead character, who is also supposed to be a friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man.
Crouch! Just let me go.
Is that a knife? Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness, it's small knives.
Just let me go.
Anything but knives!
Oh, it's so simple. That was cool.
What the hell is this?
Webbing that I developed myself. I don't think you really want to know.
Come
right
on, let me go.
now. One second.
Knock it off, man. No. Come on, let me go. Stop it. Dude, that isn't funny.
It is
Come
kind
on,
of funny,
help.
It's on again.
The first half of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a near-perfect Spider-Man film. It's got great action, bright colours, a lot of jokes and humour, and Andrew Garfield just nails the character. And then the film gets a bit too long in the tooth. It introduces too many characters. The villains come across more as cartoon characters than as living, breathing people. Why does Electro hear himself singing very aggressively? It's cool, but weird.
Stay with me, Max.
You set me up.
No, I didn't set you up.
You lied to me.
No, I'm trying to help you. Let me help you.
Why does Dane DeHaan go full crazy and starts overacting? He looks a bit better than Willem Dafoe did, but not by much. Why does two-time Academy Award winner Sally Field have absolutely nothing to do in the film? There are a lot of whys in this film. Possibly because so much of the film was cut out before its release, but also because it leaves so much unanswered for a potential sequel, which, of course, we never got. It's all a bit rushed, a bit too focused on creating this larger cinematic universe, but it is an enjoyable film for the most part. There's a lot of unnecessary stuff, too many villains, a bit like Spider-Man 3, but handled a bit better than Spider-Man 3. Its cast, for the most part, is good, and it ends on an emotional beat. No, I'm not crying. Move aside Peter Parker, it's time for Miles Morales.
Want the one for real that can never be a clone. Better talk to me nice, better watch your tone. And I'm putting on for my home zone, so I gotta go hard. I gotta elevate, I gotta elevate.
The most recent Spider-Man film focuses on a new friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It has new powers, new allies, familiar faces, familiar villains, but with new twists and takes on them all. Throw in the Spider-Man you're probably more familiar with, along with Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man Noir and Penny Parker, and let's not forget Spider-Ham, and you've got one Rick Rollickin' fun film.
My name is Peter Porker.
Spider-Ham, Spider-Ham, friendly neighborhood Spider-Ham. Spins a web, that's the gig. Kinda weird cause he's a pig. Look out, here comes the Spider-Ham. Blam-o!
The film is filled with jokes, cool action, good visuals, and never-before-seen animation styles and techniques. Into the Spider-Verse is so close to being my number one pick on this list. So close, in fact, that just talking about it now is making me reconsider it. Just a little bit. But I don't think it's going to get there. Swinging into first place is Marvel Studios' attempt at the Spider-Man character. This is Spider-Man Homecoming, where he belongs.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Unlike all of the previous movies, they've actually cast an age-appropriate actor in the role of Peter Parker, or at least someone who looks age-appropriate. Yep, Tom Holland. Tom Holland is simply perfect for this role. He was born to play Peter Parker. He's quirky, he's awkward, he's got the right level of nerdy, geeky attitude in there, and he's very likable, very friendly, and he looks good in the suit. Throw in one of MCU's best villains played by Michael Keaton, link it to past entries in the franchise, and add in Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark as a mentor figure and a source of snarky, sarcastic humour, and you have a recipe for a great film. Good action, heartfelt moments, funny beats, great twists, and a lot of surprises. This is one of, if not the best, superhero film ever made, and it's definitely number one on my list of the best Spider-Man movies. It just edges out into the Spider-Verse. Why just? Well, it's live action, and in my opinion, live action is a bit more impressive, because after all, you can do whatever your imagination wants in animation. There's also the fact that the character's story just resonates a bit more for me in Spider-Man Homecoming. Well, that's my list of the Spider-Man movies ranked. Where will the future Spider-Man Far From Home rank? Where will the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse rank in the future? Only time will tell. As for now, that's all I've got, so stick around, browse my other content on this channel, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and if there's any sort of content you want me to make, let me know in the comments down below and I'll see what I can get to. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant_Burton, and leave comments and feedback down below. Let me know what you think of my ranking of the Spider-Man movies. But until next time, thanks for watching.